Imagine this moment, the faint glow before sunrise, when the world is still whispering between night and day. The air is soft, the wind moves gently through the window, and your breath quiet. Steady becomes the first sound of life returning. In Buddhism, this is not just the beginning of another day, it is the rebirth of the mind, a chance to start again, unburdened by yesterday's noise, free from the weight of unfinished stories. But ask yourself, how do you begin your day? With noise or with awareness? Do you awaken only your body, or do you awaken your mind too? Most people rise already, running, chasing time, checking messages, carrying the residue of yesterday's thoughts into a brand new dawn. They mistake movement for awakening and wonder why peace feels so distant. Yet the Buddha reminded us, each morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most. The morning, in its quiet truth, is like a blank scroll, and your consciousness, the ink. Every breath, every word, every thought becomes a stroke that paints the tone of your entire day. If you write with rush and worry, your hours will echo that restlessness. But if you write with mindfulness and gratitude, even the simplest tasks become sacred. So before the world demands your attention, before your mind fractures into 1,000 directions, pause. Return to the still point within you, that calm presence untouched by time. From that place, everything begins anew. In this journey, we will explore 10 Buddhist practices, 10 mindful rituals to awaken not only the body, but the heart. Small acts that can transform an ordinary morning into something quietly extraordinary, a sacred awakening. Part 1. Wake up with gratitude. Before you open your eyes, pause for a moment. Feel the miracle that you are still breathing, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, the rhythm that has never abandoned you, not even in sleep. This is life, quietly continuing its song within you. And yet, how rarely do we notice it? In Buddhism, gratitude is not a polite reaction to good fortune. It is a state of awakening. It is the realization that nothing is truly ours, not even this breath. As the Buddha taught, let us rise with gratitude, for even this breath is borrowed. To live in awareness of that truth is to live with humility, reverence, and peace. Place your hand over your heart. Feel its steady pulse, constant, loyal, asking for nothing in return. Whisper softly, "Thank you." No grand words, no performance, just a quiet offering of presence. The moment you do, something shifts. The restlessness begins to soften. The weight of yesterday loosens its grip. You begin to remember how fragile, and yet how precious, this simple existence is. A Zen master once asked his disciple, "What did you lose while sleeping?" The disciple thought for a moment and said, "Nothing." The master smiled. "Then you have already woken up rich." That is the essence of gratitude, realizing you already possess everything essential. The air that fills your lungs, the roof that shelters you, the body that still carries you, even when it aches, all of it is a gift. Most people wake up chasing what they do not have. They measure the day by what is missing. But the grateful mind begins from fullness, not from lack. Gratitude does not deny your pain or your challenges. It transforms how you see them. It turns ordinary moments into sacred encounters. The morning light becomes softer. The sound of the wind becomes music. Even the silence feels alive. In Buddhist practice, gratitude is the root of peace. A heart that gives thanks cannot harbor resentment for long. When you start your day with appreciation, You train your mind to see abundance instead of scarcity, connection instead of separation. So tomorrow, before you reach for your phone, before the world rushes in, reach for your heart. Breathe deeply. Feel the life that is still here, still generous, still waiting for you to notice, and whisper again, "Thank you." That single breath of gratitude can turn the whole day into a prayer. Part 2. Breathe with presence. Your breath is the bridge between the visible and the invisible. It is the thread that quietly connects your body, your mind, and the world around you. Every inhale invites life in. Every exhale releases what no longer serves you. Between these two movements lies the most sacred space, the space where awareness begins. Take a moment now. Before the noise of the day fully awakens, place your attention on your breath. Do not control it. Do not force it. Simply notice the air entering through your nose, the chest gently expanding, the subtle warmth of the exhale as it leaves your body. Let it all unfold naturally, like waves meeting the shore. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha said, "Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out." This is the essence of mindfulness, to return home, again and again, to the breath that has been with you since the very first moment of life. Take 3 deep breaths now. With the first breath, return to your body, feel its weight, its aliveness, its quiet strength. With the second, return to your heart, soften whatever tension you find there. And with the third, return to this moment here, now, where peace is waiting. When your mind becomes mindful of your breathing, the day begins to slow down. Time no longer chases you, it flows with you. The ordinary becomes intimate. You start to feel that life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Most people breathe to survive. They rush through their mornings, carrying the same anxiety from yesterday into the dawn of today. But the awakened one breathes to exist fully. To them, each breath is an act of love, a silent bow to the miracle of being alive. In Buddhist practice, the breath is not just a physical rhythm, it is a teacher. It reminds us that everything rises and falls, expands and contracts, appears and disappears, and yet nothing is truly lost. The breath teaches impermanence, patience, and surrender. So whenever you feel scattered, come back to your breath. When you are overwhelmed, come back to your breath. When you forget who you are, come back to your breath. For as long as you can breathe consciously, you can begin again. Inhale, life enters. Exhale, peace returns. Between them, you find yourself not running, not striving, but simply being. Part 3. Set an intention. Before you rush, pause. Ask yourself quietly, what kind of energy will I bring into this day? Every morning, life hands you a blank page. You cannot control what will be written by others, but you can choose the tone of your own ink, the quality of your presence, the intention behind each thought, word, and action. In Buddhism, intention is not a demand for outcomes. It is the compass of the heart. It does not control the path, but it guides the way you walk it. When the Buddha said, "The mind precedes all things. With our thoughts we make the world," he was not speaking of magical thinking. He was revealing a truth about creation itself. Your inner state colors everything you touch. If your thoughts are rooted in anxiety, even beauty feels heavy. But if they arise from mindfulness and compassion, even struggle becomes a form of grace. There is a story of a Zen monk who kept a small wooden sign by his bed. Each morning, before his feet touched the ground, He would read the words carved upon it. What would love do today? It was not a question of sentimentality, but of awareness. It reminded him that every choice, even the smallest gesture, could either add to the world's noise or to its healing. You too can begin this way. Before the world pulls you into motion, sit for a minute and write a simple intention. Today I will walk slowly, speak kindly, see clearly. Do not make it a promise of perfection. Make it an offering of sincerity. An intention is like a seed. It does not bloom instantly, but it begins shaping the soil of your consciousness. Throughout the day, return to it. When irritation rises, when doubt appears, when the pace of life begins to pull you away, breathe and remember. Ask, am I still walking in alignment with what I said this morning? The purpose of intention is not to keep you in control, but to keep you conscious. It transforms reaction into response, habit into awareness. And slowly, you begin to notice that your days no longer unfold by accident. They unfold with purpose, quiet and clear. Before you rise tomorrow, pause again. Place your hand on your heart and whisper your intention to the dawn. Not to change the world, but to change the way you meet it. Part 4. Release expectations. Every morning, the mind writes a secret script of how the day should be. We wake up and quietly expect that things will go smoothly, that people will act kindly, that our bodies will feel strong, that life will unfold according to our plans. Yet the moment reality takes a different turn, we begin to resist. And that resistance, not the event itself, is where suffering begins. The Buddha taught that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Pain belongs to the body. Suffering belongs to the mind that insists, this should not be happening. The tighter we cling to how we think life should be, the harder it becomes to receive life as it is. There is an old Zen story about Master Ikkyu. One morning, as he was eating, his bowl slipped from his hands and shattered on the floor. The young monk beside him gasped in horror, expecting anger or regret. But Ikkyu simply smiled and said, "Good, now the bowl can rest too." That is the heart of wisdom, the ability to release, to see that even in loss, there can be peace. To let go is not to give up. It is to give space for life to breathe, for the present to reveal its quiet perfection. A Zen proverb says, "Let go or be dragged." The mind that clings is constantly pulled by what it cannot control: other people's moods, the weather, the past, the future. But the mind that releases learns to float, to flow, to trust the unfolding of things. Try this tomorrow morning. Before the day begins, whisper softly, "Today, I release the need for everything to go my way. I will meet what comes with calm eyes and an open heart." Notice how even the smallest disappointment becomes lighter. Notice how peace appears not when everything is perfect, but when you stop demanding perfection. In Buddhism, surrender is not weakness, it is strength in its purest form. The river does not fight the rocks, it simply finds a way around them. So too, the wise move through life not by control, but by cooperation with what is. As you move through your day, remember, expectations are stories, but peace is reality. And today let peace matter more than perfection. Part 5. Sit in silence. The morning is still, the air is soft, and outside the window, a single bird begins to sing, not to impress, not to fill the space, but simply because that is its nature. Inside, the room holds a rare kind of quiet. In this silence, something sacred begins to unfold. Meditation, in its truest sense, is not about doing it, is about stopping. It is the art of ceasing to chase. For most of our waking hours, we are in motion, thinking, striving, analyzing, fixing. Even in rest, the mind keeps running. But meditation is an invitation to pause, to stop the endless commentary and simply be. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of awareness. It is the mirror where truth reveals its face. When the ripples of thought begin to settle, what remains is not emptiness, but clarity, the quiet recognition that you were never lost, only distracted. The Buddha once said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." That word is not found in books or speeches or philosophies. It is born in silence, the kind that you enter when you stop seeking and start listening. There is a story of a young monk who asked his master, "Why do we meditate?" The master smiled and replied, "So that one day you will no longer need to ask." That is the paradox of practice. You sit not to gain answers, but to outgrow the need for them. So, sit quietly for 5 minutes. No goals, no expectations. Feel the contact of your body with the ground. Notice the breath entering and leaving, like waves meeting the shore. Let thoughts come and go, like clouds crossing the sky. You do not have to silence the mind. You only have to stop following it. At first, the noise inside may seem louder, the worries, the to-do lists, the memories. Don't fight them. Let them pass. In time, they lose their urgency, and beneath them, you begin to hear the still rhythm of your own being, steady, ancient, whole. Silence does not remove chaos, it reorders it. It reminds you that peace is not found by escaping the world, but by sitting deeply within it still, aware and free. And when you rise from that silence, even the simplest sound, a bird, a breath, a heartbeat feels like a prayer. Part 6. Practice loving kindness. Metta. Before stepping into the noise of the world, water your heart with compassion. Every morning, as the mind awakens and the world begins to move, you have a choice to carry the old weight of judgment or to begin again with kindness. In Buddhism, this kindness is not sentimental. It is metta-loving kindness, the deliberate cultivation of goodwill toward all beings, including yourself. In the Metta Sutta, the Buddha taught, "May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe." Simple words, yet they hold the power to dissolve anger, fear, and separation. Because when you wish happiness for others, you are no longer a prisoner of your own narrow self. Begin with yourself. Close your eyes and breathe softly. Whisper inwardly, "May I be at peace. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering." Say it not as a demand, but as an act of remembrance that you, too, deserve gentleness. So many of us speak kindness to others, but neglect to offer it inward. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Compassion must begin at home. Then, extend the circle outward. Think of someone you love, a friend, a parent, a teacher, and repeat the same words. May you be at peace. May you be safe. May you be free from suffering. Imagine your wish reaching them like a quiet beam of light. Now, bring to mind someone neutral, perhaps a stranger, someone you pass but never truly see. Offer them the same warmth, without distinction. Finally, if you can, think of someone who has hurt you. Do not justify what they did, and do not force forgiveness. Simply say, "May you be free from the anger that makes you suffer." There is an old story of a Zen master who was publicly insulted. He only bowed and replied, "May you be free from the anger that makes you suffer." The crowd thought he was blessing the other man, but in truth, he was freeing himself. Love that expects nothing in return is the highest purification. It clears the heart of bitterness and restores its natural fragrance. Like incense, compassion spreads quietly, unseen yet unmistakable. To practice metta each morning is to send a ripple of peace into the world before it even begins to stir. And that energy, soft, radiant, unconditional, becomes the fragrance of your presence wherever you go. Part 7. Observe your thoughts. Your thoughts will wake up before you do. Even before your body moves, the mind has already begun to wander, replaying yesterday, predicting tomorrow, writing invisible stories in the silence of dawn. But the early hours are sacred. The mind, like a calm lake at sunrise, reflects whatever is placed upon its surface. This is why, in Buddhism, the morning is considered the clearest mirror of consciousness, a moment to see your own mind before the world colors it. Remember this truth: your thoughts are not you. They are movements within you. Thoughts are clouds, the sky is who you are. Most of us forget this and chase every thought as if it were reality. One idea triggers another, and before we even leave the bed, we are already exhausted, pulled into fears, comparisons, and unfinished conversations. But the practice is simple. Observe, don't react. Watch your thoughts as they arise, stay for a moment, and pass. The Buddha once said, "Just as a flame is not disturbed by the wind, so the wise remain undisturbed by thoughts." This is mindfulness, not the absence of thinking, but the awareness of thinking. When you see thoughts as transient visitors rather than permanent truths, you reclaim your peace. Try this each morning. Sit for a few minutes with your eyes closed. Notice what appears, perhaps a worry, a memory, a plan. Do not fight them. Do not follow them. Simply note, thinking. Then return to your breath. As you repeat this gentle noticing, your awareness grows steadier, like the sky watching clouds drift by untouched, unshaken. Some clouds are dark and heavy, others soft and luminous. Yet none of them define the sky. So too with your mind. Whether your thoughts are anxious or joyful, they are all temporary, whether moving, shifting, disappearing. The one who observes remains constant. When you learn to watch your thoughts without judgment, you begin to experience a quiet freedom. You are no longer enslaved by the noise of the mind. You become the witness behind it, still, vast and luminous. Freedom does not come from controlling what you think, but from understanding that you are not your thoughts. And the moment you stop believing everything your mind says, you begin to taste the serenity that was always there, the open sky within. Part 8. Smile softly. Even the Buddha began his day with a smile. Before speaking a word, before opening his eyes, he smiled not because everything was perfect, but because he was alive. That simple act contained a deep truth. Peace does not come after joy. Peace creates joy. A Zen student once asked his master, "Why do you smile?" The master replied, "Because I am still breathing." In that moment, the student understood happiness is not something to chase, it is something to awaken to. In Buddhist philosophy, the smile is not a decoration of the face, it is the posture of the heart. It does not deny the world's pain, but it refuses to let pain erase wonder. To smile softly, without reason, is to acknowledge that life itself, fragile, fleeting, miraculous, is enough. Smile like sunlight, touching water, gentle, fleeting, real. It does not demand attention, it simply shines. When you smile with awareness, you invite light into your body. The muscles relax, the breath deepens, the mind softens. This small gesture begins to shift your entire vibration. Thich Nhat Hanh once wrote, "Sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile is the source of your joy." He understood that the body and mind are not separate. When you smile, even when your heart feels heavy, you are sending a quiet message to your soul. I am here. I am safe. I choose peace. Try it tomorrow morning. As soon as you wake, before your thoughts begin their familiar race, place your hand on your chest and smile a small, sincere curve of the lips. You do not need a reason. Let the smile arise simply from the awareness that you are still here, breathing the same air as all living things. This kind of smile is not forced. It is a prayer without words. It carries compassion for yourself and for the world, an unspoken promise that, despite uncertainty, you will meet the day with gentleness. Even on days when the mind feels clouded or the heart feels tired, remember, the ability to smile is a form of resilience. It is how the spirit whispers, "I will not be hardened." So begin each morning with a soft smile, not for others to see, but for your soul to feel. In that moment, joy no longer depends on circumstance. It becomes your natural state, as effortless and luminous as the dawn itself. Part 9. Enjoy the simple things. Drink your first sip of water as if tasting the universe. Feel its coolness touch your lips, slide down your throat, and awaken the life within you. Such a small act, and yet, in that single moment, you are in communion with the clouds, the rain, the rivers, and the earth itself. This is what it means to be truly present. The Buddha once said, "When walking, just walk. When eating, just eat." These words are simple, almost childlike, but they point to a truth most adults have forgotten. The sacred is hidden in the ordinary. We search for enlightenment in distant temples and rare experiences, while overlooking the miracle of what is already here, the rising steam from a cup of tea, the soft rustle of leaves outside the window, the warmth of sunlight resting on the skin. There is an old Zen story. A disciple once saw his teacher washing bowls after a meal. Curious, he asked, "Master, where is your meditation now?" The teacher smiled and replied, "Right here, in this very movement." That is the heart of Zen, to find the divine in the simplest gesture, to be awake in the midst of the ordinary. When you learn to see this way, life slows down. The rush of the world loses its grip, and what once felt routine begins to shine with quiet beauty. The act of drinking tea becomes a meditation. The sound of the wind becomes a lesson in impermanence. Even folding a piece of cloth becomes a prayer of mindfulness. In Buddhism, simplicity is not deprivation, it is liberation. It is the art of needing less and noticing more. When the mind is uncluttered, joy no longer hides. It appears in the most familiar places, in the fragrance of morning air, in the laughter of a stranger, in the stillness between two breaths. Try this tomorrow. As you begin your morning rituals, do everything slowly, with care, with gratitude. When you pour your tea, pour it as if you are offering it to the Buddha within you. When you eat, taste each bite as if it were your first meal on earth. Happiness is not found in what is grand, but in what is fully lived. Simplicity is the doorway to peace. And once you step through it, you realize the life you were chasing has been here all along, waiting in the quiet beauty of ordinary things. Part 10. Walk mindfully. The first step you take after waking is a conversation with the earth. Beneath your feet lies the same ground that has carried all beings, monks and mothers, kings and beggars, every soul that has ever lived. And with each step, you are not merely moving forward, you are participating in the rhythm of life itself. So begin your morning with awareness. Stand still for a moment. Feel the connection between your feet and the floor, the ground supporting you unconditionally, without question, without demand. Then take one slow step, breathing in softly, whispering to yourself, "I am here." Take another step, exhaling gently, "I am alive." Let your breath and your movement merge, like waves meeting the shore, simple, natural, whole. In Buddhist teaching, walking is not just transportation, it is meditation in motion. Each step becomes a reminder that you are already where you need to be. The Dhammapada says, "As the wise walk on earth, their steps leave no trace." What does this mean? It means walking without clinging, not leaving behind the heavy footprints of regret or expectation, but moving with lightness, grace, and awareness. The awakened walk gently, because they know the ground beneath them is sacred. Imagine that every step you take is a lotus opening in the mud. The world may be messy, unpredictable, imperfect, but through mindfulness, each step blooms into beauty. You do not need a special path. Your kitchen floor, your garden, your city, street, all can become places of awakening when you walk with presence. Try it tomorrow. Before rushing into the day, walk a few steps slowly. Feel your heel touch the ground, then your toes. Listen to the sound of your own movement. Feel the air against your skin, the aliveness in every fiber of your being. Do not hurry to arrive anywhere. Walk not to reach a destination, but to inhabit the moment. Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "Walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet." This is not poetry. It is practice, an act of gratitude, of reverence. For when you walk this way, you remember that you belong to this world, and it belongs to you. So today, don't rush to arrive. Walk as if you are already home, because in truth, you are. Each mindful step is a return to the peace that never left you. Each of these 10 practices is more than a morning habit. They are gateways to awakening, invitations to remember who you truly are. Gratitude, breath, silence, compassion, awareness. They are not separate steps, but facets of the same jewel. Mindfulness. Together, they awaken the quiet wisdom of the Buddha within the ordinary rhythm of your life. We do not meditate to escape life, but to enter it fully, to walk into each day with eyes open and heart steady, to face both joy and sorrow with the same gentle understanding. The morning is not just a beginning, it is a mirror reflecting the state of your inner world. If you start with hurry, the day will echo chaos. But if you start with stillness, everything that follows will move with grace. You don't need to master all 10 practices. Choose one. Let it be your daily ritual. Repeat it until it becomes the way your soul greets the day. In time, it will shape the way you think, speak, and move quietly, transforming your mornings into moments of awakening. And remember this, when you begin your morning with awareness, the whole world becomes your monastery. The sun is your bell, the breath is your teacher, and peace is the lesson you carry through the day. So tomorrow, before the noise returns, before the world asks for your attention, take one conscious breath, one mindful step, one small act of gratitude. That is enough to begin again. If this message resonates with you, share your reflection in the comments. Write "Peace" as your gentle promise to begin tomorrow in mindfulness. Because peace doesn't wait for the world to quiet down. It begins with you.